Well, hi there. I am Andrew Watkins, and if you're listening to this while juggling 3 patient calls, checking in a couple patients, taking a payment, selling skincare, and trying to catch your doctor in between procedures, you might be working in an aesthetic practice.
And I'm Blake Lucas, and this is Practice Land. This is not your doctor's podcast.
And my friend Evan Sampson is back, the lawyer from New Jersey.
Happy to be back. Thank you so much for having me again.
Okay, the next one we're going to cover sounds terribly boring, but I've done my best to not make it boring. This is the legal concept called the corporate practice of medicine, and it trips up a lot of med spa owners, practice owners. Most of them don't even know it exists. So what is the corporate practice of medicine doctrine, and why should we care about it?
So the corporate practice of medicine doctrine is something that exists in most, if not all, states. And it really says that no one can practice medicine without a license.
You know, where my mind went was I know there are some states where non-medical people can own medical businesses.
Yes.
And there's some states where they can't.
Yes. So this is very dependent on state law. Some states are really strict. I call some of those states home. Some states are not strict.
New Jersey is really strict?
New York, New Jersey are extremely strict.
Mm-hmm.
New York is probably the strictest state in the country on this issue. Other states are pretty lax. Many states fall in the middle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they have guidelines, they have requirements, but maybe they're not as strict as New York, which you can get in a lot of trouble. So it's very dependent on state law. But what's really evolved to allow private investors, private equity, you name it, to start up medical practice organizations are compliance efforts. It's usually called support businesses, administrative support businesses, or management support organizations.
Back office.
Yeah. That provide back office support systems to medical practices.
Mm-hmm.
So even in a state that has the corporate practice, a somewhat strict corporate practice of medicine statute, the office itself, like the physical office, may not be owned by a medical practice. That might be owned by the management support organization. The chairs in the waiting room, that might be owned by the management support organization. The people at the front desk, those might be employees of the management support organization. And oftentimes you have complicated legal structures that create all of these issues. So
in my life, where I've run into it is that the practice or the practice owner that sold used to be able to make decisions about where to spend money on marketing, and no longer can do that without asking someone in a big fancy office somewhere else if they're allowed to do that,
right,
or for the money to do it. And so that's where the crossover I've seen happens, and it's pretty painful for somebody who used to be able to say, "Oh, that's a great marketing idea. Let's do that." And then they have to run it up a flagpole and be told no, and then they can't.
That is the biggest headache I've seen from practice owners who sell to private equity or MSOs or something like that. Just dealing with the bureaucracy.
You might save some money by giving up control of some things, but you also lose your ability to be nimble and make quick decisions to make money.
Exactly.
And to strike while the market is doing something interesting. So, yeah, I think that's a whole different topic. Let's kind of bring it back to this corporate practice of medicine thing, because this audience cares about not getting in trouble for things.
Yeah. So, yes, the corporate practice of medicine applies to larger employers, private equity folks, private investors. But it's important for anyone who's looking to start a med spa or any aesthetics practice that they understand it and they're structured appropriately, because the corporate practice of medicine just doesn't apply to big organizations. It applies to small ones as well. So if you're a spa owner, not even a med spa, if you're a spa owner and you're looking to expand your offerings to body contouring or Botox or lip fillers or any of these medical practices, you're going to have to work within the confines, assuming your state follows it, of the corporate practice of medicine. So you might have to work with a doctor to open up a practice even if you own your spa location, and make sure that clinical standards are being met, that licensure requirements are being met, and it's important you comply from a business organization standpoint. So that's why even someone who's setting up a small practice for their first time understands this concept, because more and more often I've been dealing with health wellness, med-spa clients, med spa clients who are starting to offer these medical procedures who just don't understand it and didn't take the precautions, and they've run into trouble down the line.
When you get caught violating this particular, who polices this? Like, I'm not sure who would even get you in trouble and how much of this violation would you have to be doing to actually get caught?
This is becoming an increasing focus of regulators across the country. So the three entities that I've seen take a lot of enforcement action over the past couple of years are boards of medicine, boards of nursing, and boards of pharmacy across the states. Another place potentially this might come up are insurance companies. Yeah. I've seen insurance audits related to medical procedures at self-defined wellness organizations, wellness practices, or med spas. So that's another area of focus. So it could come up anywhere, right? If someone gets hurt or injured because of a medical practice where there wasn't proper physician supervision or new supervision, there might be mandatory reporting requirements of any medical practitioner who treats that person. So you never know where the issue's going to come up from. It could come up from anywhere. I don't know this for a fact, but I've long suspected that regulators track press releases, and if they see an announcement of a spa starting to offer medical services online, right? Online advertising, maybe they see it on Facebook, maybe that they catch wind of it that way. I mean, so these kind of issues can come up from all over the place.
I feel like this is connected to something I also hear a lot of confusion about: medical supervision versus medical direction. There's a lot of, at least from my seat, there's a lot of software trying to make sure that people are compliant. Like, they're trying to support compliance efforts with software so that people don't get in trouble, almost as a feature of software. In some states, you have to have a medical director in the building all the time. And in other states, they can be anywhere in the world. And I know you can text them something and they can approve it, and that's considered medical supervision.
You're absolutely 100% correct. So different states have different rules. One of the frustrating things for me as the lawyer is sometimes those states don't have clear rules at all, right? Sometimes it's just muddy. Maybe it's just historic practice, right? Where there aren't real written guidelines set forth. But a lot of states are adopting really clear guidance. I mean, this is another thing that I've seen a lot.
You just reminded me of a story, Evan. So I have a wonderful friend and surgeon in Oregon, and he had an injector for years, same injector, probably close to 2 decades. The law changed and they didn't know it. And then they were out of compliance for years and got caught. And they had no idea that they weren't doing anything wrong, but the environment changed around them.
Yeah, that's a common issue I see. So certainly if you're a licensed practitioner, it's incumbent on you to stay on top of these things. And there's a number of ways to do it, right? I mean, your podcast does a fantastic job of keeping people up to date on all of the trends in the industry, right? And some of those are legal trends. But there are also trade associations. I mean, there are Facebook groups, right? There's all these ways to connect with people, and you don't have to contact a lawyer about all of them. But there are blogs, there are Facebook posts, there are podcasts. It's incumbent on you to stay on top of it, because certainly if you have a license to protect, there's no one to blame for you getting in trouble over something like this but yourself.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Got a wild customer service story or a sticky patient situation? Send us a message or voicemail. If your tale makes it into our She Did What segment, we'll send a thank you gift you'll actually love. Promise, no cheap swag here.
Are you one of us? Subscribe for new episode notifications and more at practicelandpodcast.com. New episodes drop weekly on YouTube and everywhere you can listen to podcasts.